Yeah, I like that.
Thanks, sir. Good day, everyone. Council is in session. We had a little bit of a last-minute panic there. We're having some technical issues. So I think we got it all straightened out, and everyone can see our lovely faces and hear us, hopefully. Okay, would someone like to move the approval of the agenda, please?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Counter-minded? Carried. Approval of the minutes. Would someone like to move the approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Seconder?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments there? Everything good? Oh. Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Counter-minded? Carried.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to bring to council's attention that I have filed a complaint against a sitting councillor.
Yeah, I guess this, Councilor Griffin, this, yeah, I guess it's not in order of our agenda.
No, I don't know where this would fit into anything, but
Right.
it's was an attack on my character, and I don't appreciate it, and I will not tolerate it.
Well-
And I'm just wondering, a complaint was filed back in May, and I just wonder where it is.
I guess, as a point of order, in terms of procedure, there is a procedure for this.
Okay.
And there's a policy on this, code of conduct policy that we are aware of. So, again, that's something that should be followed. Yeah, at this time, I guess, in terms of this agenda, there's nothing here for discussion right now,
No,
okay?
but my thing is, where does it fit in? I mean, this is May, this is August.
Yeah,
I still haven't heard the sound, haven't heard from anybody. I haven't heard from the individual who was supposed to do what he was supposed to do, but it hasn't happened.
yeah. We'll ask the city manager to look into it. He's responsible for the policy here, so. Right?
No, I just think it's, I don't think it's fair on me as a person to have to be, to come in, I mean, like, if this was in any other, if this was my job and I had filed this complaint, I think the individual would be asked to, there would be some temporary, something done till the decision was made. And I just feel it's not going anywhere. And I want this, I don't think that I should have to sit down here and make out everything is hunky-dory when it's not. And I don't think that we as councillors should be submitted to anything like that. How are we gonna get people to run
Yeah.
if our character is gonna be assaulted like that?
Well, let me confer with the city manager there to see what steps need to be taken, I guess, with that complaint,
Yeah,
and then we'll bring it back to council.
but like I said, it was May.
Yeah,
This is August. I haven't heard anything. That's not fair,
okay,
because it was directed towards me.
right.
And I have said all along, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer when it comes to this council. I'm not as educated. You guys know words that I've never heard of.
Yeah,
But I'm not stupid,
yeah,
and I will not be treated like that. And I'm not gonna have it. So I'm gonna put that on, I don't know if that's can go in the minutes or not. But I've had enough. I'm done.
okay. Okay, any business arising from the minutes? Nothing? Okay. Councilor Granter, we have supply of equipment, a hybrid sports utility vehicle.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Fleet vehicles assigned to the Department of Protective Services need to be replaced due to mechanical and appearance issues. Several vehicles have been taken out of the fleet in previous years, and this vehicle is set to replace one of them. An invitation to tender one all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive hybrid sport utility vehicle closed on July 6, 2022, and one bid was received from Hickman Motors Limited for $36,506.75, tax included. Be it resolved, Mr. Mayor, that Corner Brook City Council accepts staff's recommendation to accept the bid of $36,506.75, tax included, by Ickland Motors Limited for the supply of one all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive sport utility vehicle. So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Seconder?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Questions on this one?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm wondering,
Go ahead.
is this, will there, a vehicle be coming out of the fleet if this one goes in, or is it added to?
Okay, Mr. Flake?
No, there'll be a vehicle coming out.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
This is just a regular vehicle, it's not a hybrid or anything like that, is it? Or it
It's
is
a hybrid, yeah.
I'm reading the description and, okay, it is a hybrid.
Yeah.
All right, it wasn't in the motion, that's why I was reading. Okay, thank you.
It's right, yeah. Any other questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Counterminded? Carried. Next, Councillor Griffin, we have transit contracts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The background information, the tender to operate Corner Brook Transit for a 5-year period was released in July and closed on August the 11th with 2 bids. The following bids were received. Buckles Busing, is that $2,582,900 HST included? Murphy Brothers Limited, $3,318,317.81 HST included. Financial impact, the transit hired contract, okay, sorry, I didn't need to add that. Be it resolved that the Council of the City of Corner Brook award the contract for the operation of Corner Brook Transit to Buckles Busing Limited beginning September 1st, 2022 for a 5-year period at a total cost of $2,582,900 HST included. I so move.
Thank you. Seconder on that? Will someone second the motion so we can discuss it at least? You don't have to support it. Thank you. Okay, questions on this one?
I have questions, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, go ahead.
So I had a discussion with Mr. Charters previous to the meeting just to get some more information, because with this contract, what we got was basically what the bidders completed, and we didn't actually see the contract. So I now understand that this is a basic contract, the same as essentially what we have now.
Yep.
And I did ask some description on the buses, but I went back over the transit study, and as you recall, I met with the city manager and yourself back in, I think it was July. And you provided me with the transit study, which I've gone through. And so going through this, I was wondering, what changes have been made to the contract. And Mr. Charters can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand that none of the recommendations that are in this transit study have been incorporated in the new transit tender. Is that correct?
I don't know, Mr. Charters?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, that is correct. We wanted to get the base transit service continued in the city. And now, once we have a long-term contractor in place, now we can start discussing those changes that I would caution council, again, that all those changes do cost money, or the vast majority of them. I hear word we may be getting some funding for something to do with transit in the coming future, but now is the time to have that discussion with council, to talk about the options, to talk about the cost implications of those options, and move the transit system forward.
Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, just a couple items, if I could just highlight them, because I think they're important for the public to know some of the recommendations in there. But before I do that, is this document a public document, the transit study?
Yes. It's on
It
our-
is,
I
okay.
think it's
Because
on our
somebody
website.
asked me and I wasn't sure if I could give it to them or not.
Yeah.
I think it's on
So
our
they can get
website.
it from the
isn't it?
city?
It's on our website, I think.
I believe it's on the website, but if not, I can.
Yeah, okay, because I did send an email, I didn't get a response, so I wasn't sure, okay?
Oh,
So-
okay. Did you send me an email?
No, somebody else, but that's fine.
Oh, okay.
That's right, that's okay. That was like a month ago or so. So my questions are then, there is a recommendation, and we've already had a discussion of extending the current service to the new long-term care facility. That's not included in this, and council passed a motion to include that in our bus service. So that directive has already been given, but I understand that's not included in this. Now, that does come with a monetary cost. I'm wondering, do we know what that cost is?
It depends on the option, to be honest. I sent out a memo to council kind of outlining some of the options. Since then, we've come up with something that we feel may be easier to implement and a little more cost effective. So now that'll involve taxis taking folks to and from the long-term care center. We're working out the details now that the new contractor is in place. I just spoke with him on Friday, pending council approval, of course, that we would have that discussion and actually reach out to the taxi companies and get a cost associated with that, and then we can come back to council for approval on that.
Okay, so further to that, Mr. Mayor, what is the option then for next year when the actual hospital, the new hospital opens for bus service? So that's gonna be another addition?
Mr. Chair?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the original intent was to change the bus stop location, to have folks dropped off at the end of the street and then walk the 400 to 500 meters into the hospital and long-term care. So the same, that's what that's a low cost, zero cost option, I guess. Now would be, or moving forward would be the time to discuss if that is a acceptable option to council, or if we want something else, we have to put a cost to that and then have that approved through council.
Okay, so, Mr. Mayor, council's already given the direction though to have a bus get to long-term care, right? That's been done.
Yeah, but.
But we need the money.
But remember the context, though. Right now, there is no road that gives you that direct access. There's no pathway to get across that field. You have to go around, it's
Yeah.
like over a kilometer, or close to a kilometer, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a kilometer. Oh,
Yeah.
around, that's what I was.
Yeah,
referring to.
but presumably, when the facility opens, there will, the actual stop there at the top of Wheelers will be in proximity. So you'll be able to go directly to.
So they are going to put a roadway across the back?
That's our understanding, some pathway or something.
It's originally I thought it was supposed to be a roadway.
Yeah.
Now it's
It
supposed
was,
to be like a hard surface pathway in there, like a
Oh,
multi-surface trail. We can't just send the bus up there.
No,
That is not an option for us because that has very disastrous impacts on the rest of the transit system. So that's why we had to talk about different options to do that. We can't just
So-
send the bus up.
so, Mr. Mayor, when the new hospital opens, and I don't know what the swing time is between the new and the old, with the, I assume, shutting of the old hospital, I assume, we'll no longer need a bus to go there. So that should potentially, in theory, free up time to go to the other hospital. The new
Yeah,
hospital.
and I don't know if it would free sufficient time, or if the old hospital will
Nobody knows.
shut, yes, right. So that's why I think it sounds to me like this is a base contract that'll give us some flexibility. If we have a stopgap measure to fulfill council's resolution to get to-the-door service in the interim, I think as we all saw in that memo, to change the routes or to do anything would require other vehicles, and so we would be looking at, hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially, if we make that change. If the director has a low-cost alternative. I know that we have done in the past for other services, like accessible transit, provided taxi service to and from certain locations. So is this like would this be to the door or from the transfer station?
That's the thinking right now. Again, I have to discuss this with the new contractor, but yeah, the thinking would be to, however you can get to our transfer station out there, whether that's on the bus, get dropped off there, walk there, drive there, whatever, to get there, and then the taxi service would be called, and then you would be going direct from the transfer station to the hospital. Once you're at, long-term care. Once you're at long-term care, the obligation would be you to call the taxi company and have that return trip, which would take you down here.
And then the city would reimburse or provide funding for that.
Yes.
We pick up, basically, we get invoiced by the taxi company.
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. They would have to pay the standard fee, which is $325 now, and then we would pay the city would pay the difference. Yes.
All right, some other questions here, just, Mr. Mayor, just going through the report there. It recommends a significant number of new bus stops, 35 to 40, and we had this discussion when we met earlier in July about people having to crawl up over banks in the winter, and especially like country road, places like that, Humber Road, trying to get to a bus stop. I don't want to let any cats out of the bag, because I just heard we may be getting funding, looking for funding, but I'm assuming that we're working towards improving the number of bus stops that we have?
Mr. Charters?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, absolutely. Again, that's one of the recommendations that we would tend to follow through, but again, they all cost money. So once we have that discussion with council and decide how to move forward, then we can talk about budgeting for those changes.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, as well, just on the accessibility, again, with the bus stops, current and any news, I don't know if there's anything that can be done currently on the current budget or in-house budget without having federal funding or whatever to look at improving the accessibility of some of these current bus stops that we have. But again, I assume staff is working on that. The other question I had was the smart card partnership with Metrobus. So I know we're not in a position to do that currently, but is that something that, that we're looking at actually doing?
Mr. Charters? It's something that we have applied for, I know,
Yeah.
through ISIP. So it's something that we're hopeful that we are going to get funded.
Okay.
But it is a necessary condition to be able to provide that service via, I guess currently it's income support, GIS recipients and others in the metro area. It initially started off as income support clients, so, but we do require electronic payment in order to be able to do that. So,
What was the other one? I think that was, no, I had something else back here, Mr. Mayor.
There was a presentation to council, the previous council, I think in August of, about a year ago. And it had in it some of the, I think Charles, I might have sent you that presentation that Darren gave back then.
Oh, yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm just asking
Yeah.
questions for the general
No,
public. so they
but
understand.
that one there, I think, had a number of the, from those recommendations. There were certain ones that were more actionable based on affordability and, without a substantial change. And I would imagine that this new contract will allow us to make those changes without substantial impact to the contract itself. We have the ability to change routes and do a few things like that, so. So there were some things in there that were recommended and approved by council then. Yeah, there are some changes for sure.
Can I just ask the last two questions?
Sure, yes.
One, the buses that we will be getting are similar to the ones we have in that they have a high step, so you have to go up over the steps, or high floor, I mean. So you have to go up over the steps to get into the bus, is that correct?
Mr. Charters?
Yes, that's correct, through you, Mr. Mayor. They are not accessible buses that are required.
Okay, and last question is on the fare, it's remaining at $3.25
Mr.
for
Charters?
adults?
Yes, that's correct. It's remaining at $3.25. That's what the tenders were bid based on.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Okay, yep.
Mayor, I got a
Go
question
ahead.
or two. If this contract gets awarded today, the suggested rate, any changes that are made between now and the 5-year duration of the contract would mean extra cost, according to Mr. Charters.
Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
A lot of them would, any additional service, any digital payment method, any transit on demand, for example, those all cost money. Changing routes within the current times, that's the key, is the times. That's why we can't go directly up to long-term care, because it throws everything off. So if it's a matter of changing the routes that fit within the time, that would be a zero cost change to the system. But what I've learned over the years is changes to transit cost money.
So by awarding a contract at a certain rate today, with the recommendation, are we not putting the city at the mercy of the awarded contract and contractor to say that adding a route into the new long-term care is going to cost $100,000 a year or $80,000 a year? Because that particular contract would know, well, we've got the contract for 5 years, and they're not going to be competitive because they're not even bidding. They have the contract, so if they come back, we make a change to it, we want to go to long-term care, and they'll just say, well, it's gonna cost you $100,000. We're at the mercy of that contractor for the next 5 years, as opposed to another scenario that, because we've been discussing transit, well, since I've been on council in the last 2 terms, and it seems like we were in a real rush back in December, January of 2020 into 2021. We did the study in 2021, leading up to last Christmas, December month, had a report come back. People were involved with Zoom meetings, and now we get a contract that, as Councillor Pender eloquently outlined, without any of the changes or recommendations that were in that report brought forward, including the long-term care. And now we put ourselves at the mercy because the existing contract is expiring, or has expired, I assume. The current contract has expired,
Will expire.
will expire within days or whenever, and then we're moving into a contract. And in order for us to make any additions to it, as opposed to having those additions added when we went to bid, and you get 2 bidders, now we're gonna be, the city's gonna be at the mercy of a contractor who over the next 5-year period can simply say, well, you know what, that's gonna cost you an extra $100,000, where if it had gone through the bid process, you would have had 2 or 3 companies bidding, and it would have been incorporated into the bids that we have in front of us today. So really, it seems like we're doing it in reverse order to get what we want as a city. And we all know that adding the long-term care, which is a necessity, and I'm on record by saying it's a necessity, we all know that's going to cost extra money, just as is doing more accessibility for wheelchairs, et cetera. It's going to cost extra money. But now we're going to be at the mercy of a contractor who gets awarded a particular contract. So that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, so in terms of, just so you know, the changes that were proposed to council when the study was done last summer were route changes and things like that. So most of those had no cost impact or direct cost impact. There was one significant one on the route that goes from, I think, the Murphy Square, or the Plaza and Humber Road and things like that. Again, not perceived to have a significant cost impact, but it is a change that would have to occur. The issue that came up with this council previously, again, as I mentioned earlier, we're in sort of a weird in-between time here, where that service can't get there in a reasonable time frame. Council was given a memo on this. It would cost, I think it was around $200,000 or more, potentially, to add a bus to be able to service that. Again, I'm curious to hear Mr. Charter's solution to provide taxis there as a way in the interim until that pathway or whatever it is opens. We have a service standard here typically to get within 350 to 400 yards away from a bus stop for most places. If we need to provide that specific service, it'll be an add-on at the rate. We would negotiate changes with the contractor regardless, but we can't go and contract something we don't know the answer to yet. We need to maintain this service for the good of the residents. There's a certain segment of our population who needs to use this. So while we're trying to fix these things, we need to make a solution that evolves, not a solution that changes all at once. We can't afford that, and you're seeing with the prices now, they've been escalating over the last couple of years, fuel, cost of the rolling stock, all of those things. So again, and Mr. Chair, correct me if I'm wrong, but from a competition perspective, any kind of incremental change, well, the electronic payment thing, for example, that's not something that necessarily would sit within the contractor anyway. That's something that we have to control, because if we want to take advantage of these government programs. So it's not like we're giving up costs here. It's, again, I'm not happy with the system. I think we're all not happy with the system. We think that there's ways to improve. As Mr. Charters points out quite astutely, these all cost money. So in the interim, we are facing unprecedented inflation in fuel costs. So I think that we can't afford not to have a transit system in lieu of a perfect one. So we've got to build it. Again, I don't know, Mr. Charters, if there's any concern here for the incremental cost. As I understand it, basically, we're renting time on buses. That's what we're getting here. We're renting 2 buses, a certain type of equipment, and for so many hours a day, so many days a week. And if we go to an on-demand system, or if we do these things in the future, that again, we would have to just rejig how we do that, or maybe add incrementally new services to accommodate such a system, so.
So, Mr. Mayor, saying all that, sorry, if I could get the floor?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. So with regard to the issue that Councillor Pender brought forward, with regard to long-term care, if this contract gets approved today, we would revisit how we support getting transit into the new long-term care hospital facility, acute care.
Mr. Chair.
When it opens in
It's gonna have to
fall
change,
of
it's gonna have to change.
2023.
Yeah, there's two problems, I guess. There's an immediate problem, and then there's a problem when it is in its final configuration. And the problem is, I guess, we don't know what that's going to be for sure, but in the interim, it sounds like Mr. Charters has got a solution.
Yep, that's fair to say. I would also like to add, this is no different than any other contract that we have with the city. Somebody building a building, for example, cannot just say, here's my price. We don't operate like that. We have to negotiate those, and if they're unreasonable, we just don't accept them. So I just wanted to point that out, that there is a negotiation process, and we're not bound to just accept whatever the contractor tells us. Just
Good. Any other questions?
Yeah, I comment.
Yes, go
I
ahead.
just want to make sure I'm clear on Councilor Grander's point. So, am I right in thinking that what you were saying was that if we award a contract today, to use a number, the $50,000 that what it would cost to get to the long-term care, because he has the contract, he can put that $250,000 if he wanted to. Is that?
No, that was
what you
my,
were trying-
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, yeah, that was my question.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Obviously, you know, good companies, you know, wouldn't do those kinds of things, but
Okay.
you don't want to be at the mercy
No.
of
Good.
the
So,
company either, right?
So I'll ask the director, by judging by what you just said, am I right in saying that it's not that, it doesn't work that way?
That's correct. I mean, I've never run into an instance where we asked the contractor for a change and they said, here's my price, and it was outrageous and we just accepted it.
Okay.
That's just what.
Yeah, that's important.
Thank you.
And as it is, there are alternatives. It isn't like they have a monopoly on it, right? We can add to the system. Many jurisdictions for accessible transit, for example, have a separate system.
Yep.
We already, like I said, for accessible transit, use taxi service to go along with our transit company, so. Yes?
Just one more question, Mr. Mayor, and I did discuss this with the director earlier. Just on the buses themselves, I'm just wondering if, and maybe we're not, are we missing the boat really on any federal funding available to provide accessible buses with, you know, that drop down, that have a low floor and so on? And I'm wondering if the director can just
Yeah.
expand a little bit on that.
Mr. Charters?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. No, the answer to the question is no, we're not missing the boat on that. We're confident that there's gonna be some funding calls for just that. Now, saying that, accessible buses is the easy part. You can buy buses, we could go out and buy 3 buses tomorrow if we wanted that were accessible. It's the stops. So without the stops, to work on the stops, the accessible buses don't really do a lot for the transit system. So we have to focus on the buses, but also most importantly, all the stops, which ones are accessible. You have to label them, you have to classify them. There's quite a procedure to get to an accessible system. And if you'll note in the transit study, they talked about there should be another piece to that study to talk about exactly how to reach accessibility for our transit system.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I guess I would recommend that going forward, whether it's passed or not, is that, you know, council needs to sit down and have a broader discussion with our staff on this and give direction exactly where we want to go and get more information on what federal funding is available, and I know that changes all the time.
Yeah.
But where we want to go and have a discussion with the public as well is, we have this study, what are we going to do with it? This is what we need to decide.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Okay, let's take it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Counterminded?
Right.
Undecided, I'm thinking.
Okay, we can leave a very vulnerable part of our population without a bus service on September 1st.
I'm just considering the fact that we do have available, or we will have available, I just want to make sure I'm clear on this point. Over this winter, that people going to long-term care will not be left on top of Wheelers Road
Right.
or Pratt Street.
That's
That's
the
the only
question.
thing, I just want clarification. If I understand correctly, we have or will have a taxi service available from
Not
transfer-
related to this contract? No.
No,
But it'd be separate.
no, separate from that. We will have available transportation
Are
to
you-
long-term care.
Are we seriously going to try and hold this hostage from?
No, I'm asking the question. I want to see if I understood correctly, because, is that what I understood?
We are working on solutions to fulfill council's directive. It is not currently part of this contract.
No, not part of this contract, I understood that,
Yeah.
I understood that.
Yeah.
But we are working on something, because
Absolutely.
that's the only thing that I'm really concerned about, Mr. Mayor, is people being able to access the long-term care over the winter, and that we're working on something
Definitely.
there. Okay,
Yes, okay, Mr. Mayor.
that's just what
But
I
we
want
would,
clarification.
but just wait a second.
It's a separate
We were in the
incident.
middle of a vote here. We were willing to sacrifice, for the sake of, as I understand it, a handful of people that are using the service from that location, the service that people who can't afford otherwise are using the system on a daily basis?
I think you're misinterpreting things, Mr. Mayor, I just asked a question, I just want to be sure before I vote, that's all.
That's the question.
It's not part of the, okay.
I know it's not part of this contract. that's-
Okay, I'll call for the question
that's
again.
clarification.
I'm gonna call the question
Mr.
again.
Mayor, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
quick question. So that's the question that was posed to Mr. Charters. So that's in the affirmative, that we'll work on a solution for the winter months outside of this contract, which is at $2 million, for these persons that need access to get to long-term care. And again, next year when the new hospital opens.
That's correct. We're working on solutions to
Right.
fulfill council's directive, yes.
So we still have to bring back that solution to council.
To council.
My understanding is that solution is going to be fairly expensive, so it's not something that I had within my authority to approve.
Yeah.
So it would have to come back to council
Yep.
at that point again.
Okay.
Are there any questions before we go to a vote?
No, I'm good now.
Everyone?
I'm good.
Any questions?
I'll support that.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Counterminded? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Keeping, we have Mount Bernard Avenue reconstruction.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tenders were invited for street reconstruction for Mount Bernard Avenue. In general, work under this contract consists of the installation of 1,700 meters of PVC sanitary sewer main and 900 meters of storm sewer and associated manholes and catch basins for the purpose of replacing the existing sewer systems in the area. As part of this work, approximately 200 meters of PE encased DI water main will be supplied and installed to replace existing transmission and distribution water mains in the area. Existing water mains, sewer mains, manholes, and catch basins will be removed and or abandoned during course of the works. Existing homes in the area will receive new water and sewer service, laterals installed to their property boundaries, with connection established to the new mains. Existing water and sewer service shall be maintained during the course of the work through diversion of sewer and or provision of temporary water servicing where applicable. Reconstruction of the road will be completed as part of the work of the contract and will include curb, gutter, sidewalk, one side, and asphalt. Traffic control shall be provided. Mitigation methods shall be applied to trees and shrubs preservation in project area. Tenders closed for Mount Bernard Avenue reconstruction contract number 2022-20 on June 17, 2022, with one bid receiving from the following: Marine Contractors, $10,400,036,308.65, HST included. Be it resolved that Corner Brook City Council award the tender for the Mount Bernard Avenue reconstruction contract number 2022-20 to Marine Contractors in the amount of $10,400,036.308.65, HST included. I so move.
Thank you. A seconder on that?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Questions on this one?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, quick question. During the construction phase, with regard to the site plan and those kinds of things for Mount Bernard Avenue, will Mount Bernard Avenue be shut down to general access for the residents of Corner Brook and only open for residents that actually live on Mount Bernard Avenue?
Mr.
Is
Charters?
that what the plan would be?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yeah. These types of projects, especially on significant roadways in the city, are all done in phases. So as we come down the hill or go up the hill, however they tackle it, you would isolate sections. So those sections will be impacted, there will be detours in place. Of course, folks will be allowed to get into their properties, the residences, emergency services, arrangements will be made for garbage pickup and recycling pickup. All of those standards things will happen with this contract as well.
Yep.
It's just gonna be more complicated than normal.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, just a couple questions. Is this coming in on or under budget?
Mr. Charters?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, well, you will notice that this was the tender closed on June 17th. The original project budget total was $8 million. We talked to municipal affairs, forgive me if that's the wrong department, and they have came back, talked to the federal government, and came back with increased funding for this project at $11.4 million. So we have confirmation that this funding change has been made. We're just waiting on the official documentation to arrive. That will, of course, also have to go to council for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And a couple other questions for me.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did ask in the previous, and I know it's not happening, about bike lanes. And we did meet with the city manager in July on this. And I'm told that bike lanes are not included in this, but that it is something that we could look at and maybe discuss with the mill going forward if there's any opportunity to use maybe some of their land. So I'd like to see that pursued if possible, because I think it's important that we make it accessible for people either walking or cycling. And I think Councillor Granter asked about Wellington Street and a turning lane. And again, at the time, it wasn't part of the design. But I'm just wondering if there's any way that can be included even at the city's cost. Turning lane onto Wellington Street from,
Oh, I didn't hear that.
well,
No,
no,
that's
this
in
was a couple
the
months ago.
previous meeting, Mr. Mayor.
Oh,
Previous
okay,
meeting,
sorry, sorry.
Yeah.
At the same meeting, I asked about bike
I
lanes.
thought I was tripping out.
No, no, you're okay. Just about, because it is a congested area, especially with the junior high school there and CC Laughlin on top of the road. Whether it's a right turning lane going in or a left turning lane coming down, if there's any opportunity for any expansion there. I know the Episcopal Corporation owns the property there, but I mean, if this is deemed a necessary public work, I'm sure that something can be arranged to, if we need to occupy some of that land. But again, I just throw that out there because I think it's important that if we're making a $10 or $11 million investment in a roadway, that we do it right, so that we don't have to go back next year or 2 years later and say, we should have done that at the same time. So I'll just remind us of that. I don't know if there's any opportunity there or not, but I'll throw that out there.
And I would imagine there's limited scope to change
Yeah.
things outside of the project, right? So like, something like bike lanes, for example, Mr. Charters, I assume, wouldn't be funded through the scope of this project, or wouldn't be funded from our partner's perspective.
Yeah, that's correct. That
Yeah.
would be absolutely out of scope for this project.
Right, but if we want to pursue it elsewhere, sure.
Okay.
There are restrictions to what we can do, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. And the last question I have, Mr. Mayor, what is the schedule for getting started? I know we haven't signed anything yet, but is this something we project to see starting this fall, or is it going to have to wait until the spring, just given the time frames?
Mr. Charters?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the contractor is itching to get going. We're itching to have our startup meeting to make sure that we've got everything in order. But yes, the intent is to start very, very soon.
Okay, so this will be a disruption, say for the schools and so on, university and so on, potentially for this fall.
I would suggest it's going to be a disruption for the entire city. Yes.
Okay.
For some time. This is
Yeah.
this is a 2-season project.
Be a 2-year project.
Yeah.
Okay, and just make sure that people understand that that's coming, and it's a necessity, it has to be done, and I think I'm very glad to see it done instead of just a sewer line going down to the woods somewhere. That
Yeah.
we managed to get the entire road rebuilt from, I guess it's the intersection that,
Where is it exactly, Mr. Charters?
I knew I was going to get asked this question. It's for the intersection with O'Connell, essentially all the way down until the old city hall where the pump house is there. So it's not going to come all the way down
okay.
to Main Street, Mount Bernard, but
We'll use the current infrastructure here at the old city hall, where the pump is, so
yeah,
we'll tie in there, okay, and right up to
Where
the
at the,
little RNC.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's where the backup used to be.
So it is, yeah, you're right, it is a
That's
great,
it.
an excellent, well, it's an excellent opportunity, though. We are getting regional funding because, of course, this is necessary for the new hospital.
Yep.
And so without this, you can't flush a toilet in the new hospital.
So the other question that comes to mind, Mr. Mayor, is we did apply for funding for roundabouts. And one of those locations is University in O'Connell. So how does that potentially impact with this, or does it?
Well,
If we receive the funding,
that's still a glisten in our eyes at this point. Who knows with federal, provincial funding, what we'll get? It's always a mystery.
all right.
Well, I did
Just sort of-
have discussions with the director, and, she actually brought it up to me as something that they were looking at as well. So hopefully, we'll get some news on that sooner than later.
Now, Mr. Charles, as I understand it, the construction starts at the bottom of the hill, right? Starts towards, at the old city hall.
Typically, that's how you would go low to high.
Yeah,
So that would give us time then
Yeah.
if there are other changes. Okay,
presumably.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay,
I
Oh,
just have
go
a
ahead.
question, no, we've got nothing to do, I just have a
Yeah.
question about Mount Bernard. Is that, how soon can we expect to see that lane open, there at the bottom?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, as I understand it, that is, I asked the exact same question. It seems like there's a hole open there for quite a long time. It's a complicated, tricky part to fix because it's underground, there's existing culverts and things, but I was assured it is moving along as planned, and hopefully we'll see. For some reason, I think they told me they were waiting for some materials for something as well, or for specialty labor. I'm not sure right now, but yeah, I asked the same question.
And I
hopefully we'll
apologize, I
answer.
probably should have given you a heads up that I was gone, but it just came to me just now.
Yeah.
I just wanted to note.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, I just wanted to note that this is a Infrastructure Canada project, so, generally our share is 30%, but the province has kicked in an additional 10% because they're calling this a regional project, because it's a regional hospital, so it's a great opportunity for us to do.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Take all the federal and provincial money we can get, Mr. Mayor.
20 cent dollars.
Take it.
Perfect. Okay, anything else? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Counterminded? Carried. Request to lease city land, Councillor Pender.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Land Management was approached by the resident of 39 Boones Road who requested to lease land, city land located adjacent to their property at 39 Boones Road. The purpose for the lease will be for parking, beautification, and storage of a small shed. The land in question is part of a larger whole that was a whole piece of land, I guess, that was acquired by the city in 2005 for the future McDonald Brown subdivision. But with a lease agreement in place, it gives the city or the tenant the option to cancel the lease at any time without cause. Currently, the land is being occupied by the owners of 39 Boones Road and has approximately an area of 460 square meters or 4,950 square feet. If approved, parking will be limited to residential vehicles only. So the motion is to resolve to approve the execution of the lease agreement between the City of Corner Brook and the resident of 39 Boones Road for the city land on Boones Road. I so move.
Thank you. Seconder?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Questions on this one? Pretty straightforward. I think just straightening up, making something legal,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay. No questions? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Counterminded? Carried. Next, Councillor Granter, change order on St. Mary's Brook Box Culvert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The existing 4 meter by 4 meter concrete box culvert on St. Mary's Brook at Curling Street is failing and requires repair. Under Phase 1, a new end wall was constructed with repairs along the interior of the concrete culvert. Phase 2 includes improvements to the interior of the concrete structure required to maintain the integrity of the existing concrete structure itself. Additional work has been carried out by the contractor to complete the project. Be it resolved that City of Corner Brook Council approved Marine Contractors Incorporated change order number 1 for the St. Mary's Brook box culvert rehabilitation for the amount of $22,859.13, HST included. So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. A seconder on that?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Questions on this one? I think there's again, there's an itemized list there of odds and ends on this one. Yeah?
No, it's pretty
Good.
straightforward work.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, no questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Counterminded? Carried. Next, Councillor Keeping, Corner Brook Regional Recreation Center change order.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During the installing of the new water line for the Corner Brook Regional Recreational Center, it was discovered that the fiber optic and communications duct main was not located as illustrated on the record drawings of the site, and as a result, the location of the duct main conflicted with the proposed footing location for the new brick facility. At the same time this work was being completed, a large concrete mass was encountered and adjustments had to be made to alignment of new water line. The owner's advisor and city staff worked together to determine the best course of action. As a result, issues were addressed in a timely manner on a site at a cost of $71,680.73. Be it resolved that the Council of the City of Corner Brook approve the change order for the relocation of the fiber optic and communications duct main for the cost of $71,680.73, HST included. I so move.
Thank you. Seconder on that?
I'll second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Questions on this one?
I didn't know that ducks used the bank, but my only comment.
Yes.
No, I'm just wondering, it says here that the fiber optic was there, but it was not located on the drawings, so did they put it somewhere where it wasn't supposed to be, and if so, then why are we on the hook to fix it?
Mr. Shutters?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, this is one of my favorite things. Record drawings are only as good as who does the record drawings, let's say. For example, in this case, it showed it going from the corner of the building straight across the road into the other building. It did not do that. It meandered, it causes huge conflict with the foundation for the new building. Nobody's fault on the current project. It was just one of those things that was discovered in the field. Same thing with the large blob of concrete that was directly over a line. We had no idea what that was, that it was there and why it was there, but again, those are existing conditions that we run into in these types of projects.
So not necessarily that the fiber optic people did something that they weren't supposed to do. It could have been whoever did the drawings didn't put it where it was supposed to be, kind of thing.
That, or when they were running it, they ran into this big glob of concrete and had to go around it. That could,
That's
who
fine.
knows, at the time.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Counterminded? Carried. Next, Councilor Pender, we have council travel report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, 1 second, please. The City of Corner Brook Council Remuneration and Reimbursement Regulations 2018, Section 14, states that a summary of council travel expenses by councilors will be provided to council semi-annually and reported on at a public meeting. The semi-annual council travel expenses total $13,819.36 from January to June, as per the attached report. However, with delays and interruptions in flights that occurred during council travels, there's a total refund of $1,110.65 for council travel, for a total amount of $12,779.71. Also, as a result of some of the flight issues, there was a $400 travel credit received, and staff are still waiting on responses for other refund requests that will be reflected in the year-end council travel reports if applied. I would say council staff is optimistic that they think they're getting that before the end of the year. Anyway, I'm still waiting for my suitcase. All right, so I'll just run through them quickly, Mr. Mayor. So Mayor Parsons, who attended H&L Hospitality Newfoundland and St. John's in April. May, the MNL Conference in Gander. And in June, the FCM conference in Regina, Saskatchewan, for a total travel in the first 6 months of $6,086.32. Deputy Mayor Jason attended the FCM conference in Regina, and for a total value of $42,22.33. I believe she's one of the ones that got one of the credits back or something for travel. Councillor Gill attended M&L in Gander for a total of $1,119.44. Councillor Griffin went to Regina. I don't know if he actually got there because of flight issues, for a total of $24,62.27. So with refunds and all, Mr. Mayor, the total amount was $12,779.71. That may be adjusted by the end of the year if we receive any additional refunds.
Thank you very much. Any questions on that?
Will I have a comment?
Yes.
Just to note that some of those, you know, we're still dealing with Air Canada and, you know, insurance, but there would be further refunds that will reduce. Some of them may look like they're very high, but it's because of, you know, the delays and what we needed to do in order to get people back here and pay for our hotels. That was right in the middle of that whole, I guess, schmozzle with Air Canada had back in June. You know, it was at its worst. So that's, you know, expected.
Perfect. Okay, thank you for that. Next, we have a sponsorship. This is a tricky one now. I'm in a conflict of interest on this because I think it's coming from the Port Corporation. And the deputy mayor is not here. So maybe I could ask, who can I guess I can ask Councillor Griffin to,
I'm reading it.
you're reading it.
It's already assigned to Councillor Griffin.
No, to read it, but I can't hear it. I'm in a
Oh,
conflict.
okay, right.
What?
I'm in a conflict. So you're reading it, so maybe Councillor Pender, you could chair this part of the meeting.
Sure, Mr. Mayor. No problem. Councillor Griffin?
Thank you, Councillor. The City of Corner Brook has received a request for sponsorship for the Independent Marine Ports of Atlantic Canada's annual general meeting and conference during the August 22nd, 24th, here in Corner Brook, with the Corner Brook Port Corporation hosting the event. The IMPAC was formed with the purpose of facilitating networking exchange of information between other ports, as well as the government agencies. There are currently 15 port members from Atlantic Canada and 12 associate members, and this AGM will host approximately 30 managers and directors from ports throughout the Atlantic region. The Corner Brook Port Authority is requesting for the City of Corner Brook to be a silver sponsor for their event, which is between $2,000 and $4,999, which includes a verbal mention at the event, logo presence and hyperlink on website, logo presence in email communications, opportunity to place material in delegate bags, one free registration to full event. Be it resolved, it is to approve sponsorship. Be it resolved to approve sponsorship in the amount of $2,000 to the Corner Brook Port Authority for the Independent Marine Ports of Atlantic Canada's AGM 2022. I so move.
Seconder for the motion? Councillor Branter?
Yeah, second motion. I'll second motion.
I thought you raised your hand, sir.
Yeah, no, I didn't know.
Any
I didn't know
comments or
Councillor
questions?
Keegan was doing it.
Any comments or questions on the motion?
No, it seems pretty straightforward.
Okay, call for the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion's carried.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
We had a presentation on dementia-friendly municipalities. Councillor Griffin.
Could I, Mr. Mayor, could we go back to the recreation facility for a second? We talked about change orders, and we are expecting other change orders there coming in the future on that. So we're going to set up a briefing with council to talk about exactly, everything that was been going on and how we intend to proceed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Corner Brook has been identified as one of the 3 communities in Western Regional Health with the highest prevalence of dementia. As a dementia-friendly community, the City of Corner Brook will be partnered with the health authorities and community partners such as the Alzheimer's Society of Newfoundland and Labrador, Seniors NL, and Dementia Friendly Canada with the following goals: reducing stigma, including and supporting people living with dementia, their families and care partners in the places they live, work, and play. Support people living with dementia and to live at home longer and maintain a good quality of life. Encouraging everyone to work together to ensure that the physical and social environments are fully acceptable. Before I'm going to do the resolution, the vote, I think it should mention there are no major financial commitments involved in this initiative. Be it resolved that the Council of the City of Corner Brook supports the collaborative initiative of becoming a dementia-friendly community. I so move.
Thank you. Seconder?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Questions on this one?
I'm just, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just wondering, like, what as a city we can do to help other, with the awareness campaign and so on? Are there things that we can do at our facilities? Are there things we can do in our parks? Are there recreation things that we can do to?
It sounded from the presentation we received that this is really just laying the groundwork to try and get some community involvement, establish a committee. So it is a bit about awareness, but there is a lot of the discussion was around things that we do as part of our inclusion initiatives. So making sure, things like signage and how we design physical aspects of our environment, those kind of things. But at this stage, I think that they're finding their feet, Western Health is, and to establish a committee here of people who would be interested in forming a support network first for those with family members and that need help and support from dementia.
Very good initiative, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Carried. And last but not least, Councillor Granter, meeting scheduled.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At the public council meeting on June 6, 2022, the council meeting calendar for the remainder of the year was brought forward for approval. The meeting schedule was approved up to August 15, 2022, and staff were directed to bring the remaining schedule back for further consideration at the regular meeting of August 15. The proposed council meeting and standing committee schedule for the remainder of 2022 is attached. Regular council meetings occur on the third Monday of the month at 7 p.m. with the exception of holidays. Weekly standing committee meetings occur on Mondays at noon, resulting in each standing committee meeting approximately once a month. There are pros and cons to meeting start time based upon participants' personal situation. Evening meetings favor participants with 9 to 5 jobs, but disadvantage those working evenings. Afternoon or evening shifts and, depending on personal situations, individuals with young families or other family commitments. For a staff perspective, employees who attend council meetings generally work 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. Evening meetings require that employees work a longer workday to attend meetings. Additionally, evening meetings will result in overtime costs for administrative staff required to attend the committee meetings. The proposed resolution is resolved to approve the meeting schedule as presented. So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Seconder on that?
No, second.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Yep.
could I make a friendly, I don't know if this would be the appropriate time to make a friendly amendment? Or do we need to discuss the current?
Well, it's your amendment, yeah.
Well, I'll make a friendly amendment. The calendar with regard to council meetings I'm okay with. The only change I'd like to see or put on the floor, even based on our initial conversations back in June, I guess, and even previous to that, will be that the committee meetings be called not on noontime, but at the call of the chair or co-chairs, for all the other reasons given as well. So that's my friendly amendment. And I would say, if I could make a comment on that, that with all due respect to our staff, and that the co-chairs, chairs and or co-chairs do everything possible, to have reasonable meeting times for everyone involved, as opposed to locking it into lunchtime. To be respectful of, you know, if we can do a 4:30 meeting or a 4 o'clock meeting, or it might be a 7 o'clock, but don't, and since there are co-chairs, there might be some flexibility in who can attend, who can't attend, by having that flexibility built in, as opposed to locking in. By locking it in at noontime or 12:30, it doesn't give anyone any flexibility. So that's the friendly amendment. All the rest, I'm okay with.
Okay, is that acceptable from a,
I would agree to that, Mr. Mayor. I think, you know, some of us are retired or have more flexibility than others, so I don't see that we have to have every meeting in the evening, so I think a lot of them can continue during the daytime, for the benefit of staff, so that they don't have to stay any longer than necessary. But I think some flexibility is required, because people's schedules change. And generally, you would, I assume, set the meeting for the next meeting, give a month's notice, so that everybody was well aware in advance, so. I think, we have working people on council who don't have as much flexibility, and, I think it goes both ways. So, making it flexible at the call of the chairs, certainly allows for both the working councilors and our staff to be considered when setting, meeting times for the committees only. Regular meetings, Monday nights, no problem.
yeah,
Anyone else?
yes.
I think this really shows everybody that what we're trying to do is not working. The committee of the whole was the way to go. You know, then it was set, you know, it's, the meeting time was set, it didn't involve anybody's schedules, didn't interfere with anybody's workday. I think it's worse now, because it's all over the place. The meetings that I've attended, nobody's going. So the purpose of having the conversations and knowing what's on the go, if you're not there, so what's the point? I understand where Councillor's coming from in this, but honestly, I think we really need to relook at this in the committee of the whole. Just to me, it's solved everybody's problem. I don't get it. That's my comment.
Okay, any other comments? Well, the
Oh, I have a
secondary,
comment.
yeah. Okay. Now, the only issue is, of course, these are public meetings, so we need to, they can't be scheduled, like, they had to be scheduled like a month in advance or something. Like, they have to be set up in such a way.
Time-sensitive.
Now, the other problem is, of course, is that, the whole purpose, I guess, of these meetings was supposedly because council wanted to have more information. Obviously, this didn't work out because, well, very few councillors actually attended the committee meetings, especially ones they weren't chairing. So there has to be, I guess, so when, you know, if the chairs are scheduling a meeting, they're not taking into account the needs of the other council members either, who are optional for these meetings. So, I don't know.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yeah.
I read all of the documents that came out for each meeting.
Yep.
I watched them on Facebook.
Yep.
If I couldn't attend. So I had no problem following whatsoever. So I think if we say a month in advance that it's gonna be Wednesday morning at 10, and our staff person knows that it's Wednesday morning at 10 or Tuesday at 2, and council is aware of it ahead of time, they can do just as I did when I was away. I watched it, I read the documents. I think I spoke to Mr. Charters about all the things that were in his meeting, and I got some clarification from city manager on some other things. So it's not hard to follow along. I think the important point is that you're given the information before the meeting starts. You have opportunity to attend if you so desire. You can ask questions whether you're there or not. You can follow along on Facebook at any time, because you don't have to watch it live. You can watch it later if you want, because it's on the City of Cornwall page. So I think all of those things provide flexibility for everyone, and it makes it easier. We did the committee of the whole for 8 months. Let's give this a try. Obviously, the summer was, difficult because we have people away, we have people working, and from what I heard from councillors, is 12 o'clock noon was just not working for the working people. Now, somebody may have a Friday afternoon off, or a Thursday morning, they can take 2 hours. I don't know. But I think we need to look at as much flexibility as we can and ensure that we have transparency by ensuring we get all the minutes, we get all the documents ahead of time. Oh, and that's a question. Where are the minutes from the meetings that have been held? Because
Well,
I don't know if
presumably
they're-
they'd be presented at the next committee meeting. Yeah.
Okay, because I had some, I have to see Jessica after, I have some problem with the circulation packages, but I
She
didn't- I
emails
looked for
those
them, I
too,
didn't see
yeah.
them.
And she emails those too.
I know, but I can't open them.
You can't open the email.
The email I can, the online one I can't.
Oh.
So it comes
But-
up blank.
But either way,
I got them this morning.
the minutes would typically be presented at the following meeting.
Okay,
So
because
we
there was
only
none
had
in the
one-
circulation.
We've only had one committee meeting
Right.
so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I just wondered where I'd find them. Okay. Yep. I get that. Okay.
And that's fine, that's great that we can do it all based on our own timelines and at our leisure, I guess. You know, we've brought up things this week about things like traffic issues and things like that, where we want to have some discussion. Committee of the Whole is designed to really facilitate that kind of non-decision-making process. And I fear that if we get co-chairs calling meetings willy-nilly, 10 a.m. Wednesday or 4 o'clock on Friday or whenever, are we ever going to be able to facilitate these informal discussions that council seems to want to have? I think I hear from everyone that they want to chat more about and explore ideas. So this is why I guess I'm not in favor of these committee meetings. I think that committee of the whole is the way to go. But if I would be happy to go along with this schedule, or not the schedule per se, but having the co-chairs call meetings when they can, if we agree to a specific notice period, so that we can make sure that we can arrange with Rogers or our technical department and things like that to make sure these things are coordinated, and other councillors have the opportunity to attend as well, right?
I mean, Mr. Mayor, in reality, in the past, we would say like, I don't know, protective services would be Wednesdays at 4, or, you know, another one would be Tuesdays at 2, and we pretty well kept to a schedule as such monthly, so it wasn't rocket science. It's just that it was more convenient for people who are working, and then our staff as well, so everybody knows ahead of time.
Okay, yes?
Mr. Mayor, just looking at Public Works, which I co-chair with Councillor Griffin, and I'm sure if we moved in this route today, that Councillor Griffin and I can actually get together and work on, you know, if it's a meeting on September the 12th at noon, and one or two can attend. If not, you know, I'm sure we can work with the schedule for the remainder of the year to December.
Okay.
Councillor Griffin and I, being cognizant of the role that staff plays.
Yeah, so, just logistically, I guess, if we're going this route, who will take the initiative here to sort out the meetings with your co-chairs?
Well, I think each one of us, are we all on different committees? Yeah. So I'm with Councillor Deputy Mayor Chase on one.
Yeah,
I'm with Councillor Griffin. That's the
There
only
you go.
one I chair other than the.
I'm with Councillor Gale.
So we can each take responsibility to speak to our co-chair.
okay, so, then we'll expect councillors to arrange such meetings, over the next week or so, and, schedule a meeting, sometime in September?
Well, actually, I think I already requested that we have one in the next 2 weeks with the
Yeah,
city manager.
but that's
for
what I mean
finance
about,
and
that's why I mean, the notice is important, because
Yeah.
as we know, like especially finance, having our, Sharice and those guys prepare, it has the time
They
with
need
the
notice.
month end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
We'll try to keep it at the same time, you know, if we can.
okay, so, if this is the case then, but please, you'll have to correspond with me and the clerk, to schedule these meetings, please. So yes, I'll expect, I guess, something within the next week for a meeting in September, if that's okay.
Try to get that done, Mr. Mayor, and we'll.
Okay. Sounds good?
Yep.
Okay, so with that, I guess, do we need to prove that? Do we need a vote? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Contraminded?
All right?
Carried. That's it. Thank you all very much. And we'll see you again in
No,
September.
you'll see us in a few minutes.
Yeah, for us, we have a in-camera meeting, yes, very exciting one, and September 19th is our next scheduled meeting. Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.
Mayor,